The Holdovers. That's right, folks. This is the latest film from Alexander Payne, a director who's been working enough. I don't think his name's like one of the ones that everyone jumps out like, oh, finally, the new Alexander Payne movie is out. But he's one of those guys you just like. He makes some solid stuff. Sideways is still pretty fun. I do enjoy that a lot. And him working with Paul Giamatti again is very exciting. I feel like this movie is kind of like still small scale, where maybe it's not the most like talked about piece, especially like the weekend it's going wide distribution wise. And I say that, but I also am like, I think a lot of people are interested in this piece. It's been getting awards buzz where people are like, maybe we're gonna see Giamatti slip in, maybe we're gonna see some of the other actors slip into these supporting roles. Interesting to say. And I think the big talking piece for it is also kind of just how it's developed, how it was made. Invoking a sense of classic 70s filmmaking, which is not something we see a lot of anymore. There are clearly directors working today who take inspiration, who adhere to the rules of a 70s film, but The Holdovers is a film that feels like it's ripped right out of the era in terms of the lenses we're using, in terms of the setting we're filming in. The film grain quality, the specificity of the audio quality we're using. We're trying to make a film that invokes being of that time period, which is kind of cool. Like, if you have the ability to do that, try it. Why not? There's going to be people that support that. There's going to be people who are like, who cares? Why not just make this modern? And you're going to get an interesting result no matter what you do. And The Holdovers is a very great result. This film was really nice. It was just like a warm hot chocolate on a cold day. We're just like, oh yeah, like what it's invoking, what I'm feeling here. These are not things I feel every time I go to a cinema. These are not things I feel every time I watch a movie. It's just a warm, nice, pleasant time. And it's like, this is a serious story. We're telling something important and impactful. And you always respond to just a teacher helping the student that needs help. That is a classic story as old as time, and it makes something fun out of it. That in itself is such a 70s idea too, where it's like the two generational divides. Like, does the younger generation know more than the older generation? Who knows what perfectly? And all of that is just from the era, and just experiencing like that counterculture approach to some of it. It's really fun. I've really dug this. It's really different than everything else in theaters right now, and that's the intention. You're going into this with like expectation of, are we doing a serious drama? Well, yes we are, but it's also like warm, and it's about the intimacy of these people learning to accept each other and believe in each other and care for each other, and just seeing like this is the warm hug that you need to like understand growth and maturity and that kind of a vibe. It's really nice. We see Paul Giamatti. He is this teacher who is being punished for actions of challenging students, but he challenged the wrong student. Now he has to watch all of the students that are trapped here over the winter break, including one of his own students who is played by Dominic Sessa. And this is a kid who would rather be anywhere else, and he's the rambunctious kid wanting to escape, and he's like the hard, stubborn teacher, and it's great dynamic. They work off each other so well. Giamatti's a great actor. He is always just proven to commit to the bit no matter what the bit is. He has some really weird facial expressions in here. He has some really weird eye movements in here. The guy gets what he's asked to do. And that's a cool thing to see when he can commit to that level of just dickishness and just not understanding stuff. It's really impressive. Talks like this aristocrat kind of guy, like he's above it all, but is he above it all, and what is he fighting against himself? Is that type of story. If I were to hearken it to something maybe a younger generation has seen, it has some Dead Poet Society energy to it, where you see this generation maybe not fully understand their teacher and suddenly realize they are a person too, and the problems that come with that. It's that warm hug of a feeling. It's that warm blanket. It's so nice and pleasant, and you dig that so much. Divine Joy Randolph is also in our supporting cast here. She, I guess, is like the third lead, essentially, if you want to say that. A very interesting character that kind of foils them in different ways, gives this like whole group a new dynamic, and has a lot of fun. All three of these people, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some awards contention for any of them. They all did great. I could see Divine and Giamatti definitely sneaking in there, though. Just some really strong stuff from that. And it looks great. The aesthetic's awesome. Just walking in cold weather, everybody feels like they're on real locations and they're in like a real empty gymnasium or it's like an empty school. All of that's just so pleasant and nice, and it's such a beautiful script that does invoke a script from the era, which is really cool to see. There's not like modern punctuation or like, changing the way we would talk in that. And I know Payne's not a young guy. I'm sure he understands that era well too. He probably grew up watching all of those movies. But we get that feeling perfectly. You cast actors that feel like they belong in that time period. All these people have probably seen an iPhone in their real life, but you see them in this, you're not having like that thing of like, oh yeah, that person definitely knows what a Twitch stream is. You don't feel that at all. And it helps just sell this story, and it's really cathartic, it's funny, it's heartfelt. You love all of it. It's just so pleasant and joyful and just leaves you satisfied and warm, and that's like a really cool feeling to see for this type of a movie. It's really nice, and it's so drastically different than a lot of the other stuff that is currently happening in cinema, where going back to just perfectly invoking this feeling, that the idea of being here works so well. It's kind of cool. Like, I don't know if this is going to set off a trend of experimenting more in this genre or this decade, but just to have it come out in cinemas now, just to kind of like keep you tidy, it's nice. It's pleasant. I dig it a lot. It's in wide release on a few screens. I got an advanced screening, and in there was some people you're like, yeah, this is definitely the target audience, but if you're still younger and maybe this is something you'd normally see, you're going to get something out of it. It's a great use of just seeing actors acting and a script working well. And when you film on practical sets, you get a really nice vibe from it. And that's what this movie is. It's just a really warm, hot chocolate. You feel good after you watch it. You feel a little sad, but that's the point. That's the joys of life. That's the Holdovers. So, the Holdovers, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.